Hello. In this video we will read that professionally written ielts writing task 1 sample. Okay, let's start. No need to talk too much. The three pie charts below show the change in annual spending by local authorities in some land in 1980, 1990 and 2000. So there are 3 years in some land. So there are 6 categories of spending, as we see, with percentages. So in general, pie charts are easiest one, but the most important thing in that task is finding trends, finding similarities between those years, and being able to express that similarities in complex sentences. So basically all you have to do is telling much with minimum words, and because you just have to use 150 words and you have to do your best. And so try to give more relevant information. First of all, we should look at to see trends. So as we see, that blue color has most part. Okay, it is higher education, and it is trend, and we can mention about it. It is must. It is one of the easy information that we can write. So increasing, then decrease. So there's no much other general trend as I see. Okay, let's read model answer. The charts show how much local authorities spent on a range of services in some land in 3 separate years: 1980, 1990 and 2000. So in 3 separate years, to paraphrase that, in all 3 years, I even have a Google. Okay, close it. In all 3 years, the greatest expenditure was on education. Okay. Actually, it is higher education. If you say education, maybe it is possibly wrong, because also mention about K2, K12 education, but okay, I'm not sure about that. Maybe it is okay, because if we add that too, maybe it makes the best at the same time too. In all 3 years, the greatest expenditure was on education. Okay, we used the greatest. But while K-12 education saw a fall from 25% in 1980 to only 18% of spending in 2000. Let's see. Red one and 20%. In 1980 to only 18% of spending in 2000. And comma is here. Be careful to commas, how you use that. If you don't use that, possibly you lose some marks. Higher education remains the largest proportion, reaching 45% of total spending in 1990 and ending at 40% in 2000. It is possible to memorize that structure or get used to use that structure in your writing. Yeah, and also it is possible to use parentheses to add the percentages to make it way more detailed. If you don't add them, it means you miss something. You must use the numbers, otherwise it is not an IELTS task 1. Expenditure on health and human resources had increased to 20% by 1990 before decreasing to only 10% by the end of this period. And also you should be careful about your grammar. Had increased to 20%. Health, let's look at health. Health, 20%, 10%. Had increased to 20% by 1990 before decreasing to only 10% by the end of the period. In contrast, so you say it if you say in contrast, you must say something opposite to the previous information. So something must, okay, the share of transportation saw an opposite trend. Maybe it is unnecessary because, I don't know, I'm not an expert at this, but because you use in contrast, why you say that the share of transportation saw an opposite trend? Transportation. First decreased, then increased. Okay. Okay, I take back my word. It is better, and it is cool to see that information from the data. This cost decreased to only 6% of total expenditure in 1990, but rose dramatically in 2000 when it represented 22% of the total budget. Similarly, the cost of environmental services saw a rising trend, growing from only 4% to 9% by 2000. And last paragraph is overall sentence, overall paragraph, overall trends. Overall, higher education constitutes the largest cost to local authorities, and while spending increased for transportation and environmental services, there were corresponding drops in expenditure on health and human resources and K-12 education. Okay, it is one of the well-written essay, writing task 1. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope the video can change your IELTS writing task 1 skills. Okay, have a nice day. I even have a Google ad.